This one here is a very different one, and I promise I won't waste you time this time. The story of EDogg.
Let's go. Come on. What's good, bro? What's good, man?
EDogg is one of the O-Block Avengers. And here's the thing about those Avengers. They always show up when it matters. No exceptions. When the rain pours, when the sky turns dark, when the streets feel empty and unforgiving, they're still there. That's loyalty in its rawest form. That's the code. That's what sets them apart. EDogg lives by that code every single day. Most of the time he stays behind the gates, keeping low, moving smart, always cautious. He doesn't wander the block without purpose. He only steps out when it's time to handle business, when it's time to drill. When he's inside, he's busy, cleaning, checking, and double-checking his weapons, preparing for anything that might come. It's ritual, it's discipline. In his world, you never know when you'll have to be ready. The gates that now protect O-Block weren't always there. They only went up in 2014. But EDogg was there long before that, seeing the streets wide open, raw, uncontrolled. He lived through the chaos when anyone could come and go freely, and he's still standing now after the gates, after all the changes. That alone speaks volumes about survival.
When Vaughn was on FaceTime on Smashville with Wooski, he was like, oh, you know, that's my boy.
This your big brother, yeah, you know the going on. That's your big brother, you know.
I wish I could say one of y'all was my boy. We got all goofies over there.
You know that's my little brother, man.
But keep it 100, you didn't bother Shorty? Like you said,
that's my little brother. That's my little brother. Wooski is my little brother, man. I don't have to bother him. That's my little brother. You respect me. You know? It's my little brother. Okay. You know what the f going on, man.
This your big brother, yeah, you know what the fuck going on. That's your big brother, you know.
I wish I could say one of y'all was my boy. We got all goofies over there.
I ain't tell you what to do it tonight on
What y'all off the courage? What made y'all do it tonight?
Somebody else want to
We gon' surprise.
It's time about tonight.
We gon' surprise, bro.
Yeah, the bitches out for the free.
But you talking about tonight.
The truth, though, is brutal. It's a vicious cycle, ugly and relentless. People often miss the darkness because the lifestyle dazzles them. There are flashes of excitement, money flying, celebrations after a win, music blaring, women, the thrill of the fast life. From the outside, it can look glamorous. People see the shine, but they don't see the scars. Beneath the glitter, the same painful patterns persist. Violence, loss, paranoia, and yet, deep down, you can't help but hope that after everything he's witnessed, every long night, every funeral, every narrow escape.
The positivity way. It's positivity way.
Definitely. So wait, so what's your ethnicity technically?
And what?
Like your racial breakdown?
You know, some people be thinking you white and shit. So what's your your mama white or something?
Yeah.
My daddy black.
Yeah.
All right, for sure. Was your mom living in O-Block? Your mom moved you to O-Block?
That's what I was living with.
That's what all right, for sure. So your dad was in your life as well? Or?
Yeah.
So what about like your siblings and shit? What was it? How many people in the household?
I heard mom dead. A couple of more people there. It was like I said, I had my brother that passed away that was with me. So I had, you know. There wasn't no pressure. So it'd be like, oh no.
Yeah.
There wasn't no pick. You know, choose whatever they want to do. Ain't nobody just pick like, oh, you finna do this. You choose. I choose what I want to do. Nobody know right from wrong. You know?
When you first moved or when your mom first moved you to O-Block, was it a situation where it was like, I don't know how safe this neighborhood is, or like she was cool with it from the jump? Like was some shit going on where she?
Like I told you, I just came from project buildings.
Yeah.
To other project buildings, so it's like
it was just regular to her anyway, to y'all anyway.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Same shit.
It was like better income or better living, you know?
Yeah.
You know, instead it was porches, we had hallways. You know what I'm saying? All right, we got hallways instead of porches, so shit like that, but it's still, you know?
Yeah.
Today I'm here with, man, a little brother of mine, man. Look.
Yeah.
What's your name, man?
You know what my name is.
Oh, see, he don't need no introduction.
EDogg wakes up one morning and says, enough. that he decides to shift the energy in his own block to guide his own people, because that's the true mission. That's the bigger reason he's still alive. It's not just about knowing how to move, not just about smarts or tactics. Maybe God has a plan. Maybe survival has a purpose beyond himself. Perhaps he's meant to live, not just for his own life, but to help others, to carry a deeper message through his existence. He'd been in different generations of O-Block. EDogg was always the mastermind of O-Block shooters. He is the one gives all techniques during the war with the ops. When he started during OD Perry, to now with Muna Ike era and J-Do Jump Out Boys, which is younger generations of O-Block, which has killers like Munamund. Both older generations and young shooters view EDogg as veteran shooter. He's one of the original Get Back gang. He's well respected by all of O-Block. The shorties all got love for EDogg. He is currently 34 years of age, and I hope he reach 80. He is one of the few ones left in O-Block trenches where he was born and grew up in Chicago's South Side. In Chicago drill scene, 34 years of age is considered so old because people die so young. I remember when Melly got killed, many started to spread the rumors that EDogg jumped through the window and killed him. Some were trying to say Memo 600 was involved too, like always. But 77 Nate from Taekwon was Melly's killer. He is one of the few people still alive from the OD Perry era. EDogg is widely known as one of O-Block's key figures who upheld its street presence. He is the main enforcers, an elder shooter who inherit the tactics to the younger generations of O-Block. King Von and T-Roy were two of EDogg's closest friends.
While I'm smoking on, shut down. Oh, my bitch, do I see your blood? Oh, blood. Right up on your block, bitch. Go, come on, man.
We out here smoking Harvey.
Yeah.
Hollywood, we out here smoking dope.
My man's back there. See my man's back there. Gang shit. My man no say Hollywood. We out here smoking Harvey.
Yeah.
Hollywood, we out here smoking dope.
Both were killed during ongoing street conflicts caused by feuds and retaliation with rival groups. O-Block is a well-known housing complex marked by a long history of violence that has taken the lives of many. Sadly, countless individuals from the area have fallen victim to brutal and deadly circumstances. In that setting, few people live beyond their late 20s, and reaching 30 is seen as a significant milestone. Making it past 40 is extremely rare. Those who do are considered survivors and are expected to step away from that lifestyle. He has witnessed the loss of many close friends, and that grief is the most painful part of growing older. For EDogg is a blessing to reach that age, because most of guys he grew up with either killed or sent to jail. EDogg is the type of ancient guy who should teach the young generations how to move. For his age, be that old, still trying to be on a block, either they homies moved on from or died. However, recently EDogg was seen spending time with iSpeed, the extremely popular YouTuber and live streamer, during iSpeed's visit to O-Block. This moment stood out to many people and can be viewed as a very positive step for EDogg. Being seen alongside a major online personality suggests that he may be shifting his focus away from street violence and toward more productive and positive opportunities. It appears that EDogg could be ready to leave behind the life of shooting and conflict and instead move into gaming, content creation, and storytelling. With his real-life experiences and background, he has the potential to connect with a large audience.
Cause there's been a lot of, Chicago known for people dying, gun violence and shit.
It could be like,
So when you know you lost 100 people that you knew, how did that make you, you know what I'm saying?
You gotta cherish, bro. You can't, like, before you catch an attitude, get aggravated, you gotta cherish everything, bro. Like, this shit for real. Like, cherish it. Like, understand, like, what you got in front of you before it be taken away. Now you mad.
Sh00ter, while I'm smoking on, Sh00ter, oh my bitch, do my team.
We seen you on O Block. You was pushing peace on O Block, and then things went left when EDogg started talking.
For EDogg to whoop like that, it was just a smack in the face to me and bigger to the culture at the time. I realize now that everybody don't understand and everybody don't think how I think. And EDogg, man, I understand at the time he probably felt like he was doing what he was supposed to do. Understand we all lost a lot of people.
Okay, but in that moment, weighing the pros and cons,
me in the middle of a Dr. Martin Luther King.
It was a good sermon. But let me just ask you this: in that moment, was it like in your head? Were you weighing the pros and cons of like already like kind of preordained in your head that like if anybody comes at me with any kind of negative energy, I'm gonna just be out?
Yeah, for sure. That part is almost pre-planned in my mind. I have to leave because I'm not only thinking for me and the men around me, and also the kids that's over here, and also all of them as well. You probably thinking with emotion. I'm thinking with my mind.
He got me on DJ. I gotta move. He can't do this shit. He ain't got no say so. Y'all ain't got respect. No, I ain't got no respect for him. I love when he with me though. I love you though. You should be when he disrespect my man, but you doing it for me though. Turn the cameras out.
Mind you, just 3 years prior to that, J-Mane dropped one of the most disrespectful songs dissing BD, including O Block, Front Streets, and their deceased guys. Example of the lines in J-Mane's song are, "Where the F Frito buried, I need to take ass shit. I'm smoking OD, mixed with Baldy, need to stop, might take a piss on LA grave, hope he rot." T-Roy tried to run for M. J-Mane was super disrespectful. He had another songs like Nightmare O Block with Wooski, and Death of 150 was too much. And when he went O Block to push peace, you can tell Gleesh was on the fence about it. All those he disses J-Mane did and HK was his mans. Hell, he basically named his clothing brand after him. The look on his face said it all. Neither of them wrong for real. J-Mane grew and is trying to put all that shit behind him, but his old songs were disrespectful, so there's really no coming back from all that dissing, especially when he's talking about guys you grew up with. I could be wrong. It's just my view, and it's okay to disagree with my views. I feel like I don't think J-Mane genuine. He doing this cause music did not work. If he blew up dissing with rap, then that would be his lane. Pushing peace is the lane he in right now. And I can't even hate cause it's making him money. If it wasn't paying the bills, he 100% would stop immediately. Let's start there. This why whenever peace get pushed, you can't blame the ones that don't want it. We ain't gone. Forget J-Mane was one of the most disrespectful come out the city of Chicago. This why I feel like it should have been a sit down in a neutral spot before forcing him in the O for some views that he's the only one getting paid from. They should have linked up at a park with some of his guys too, at a neutral setting, and have a real sit down that could genuinely spark some change. J-Mane just trying to prove that he pushes so much peace that even his enemies forgive him. Words have power, and too much bloodshed has happened for him to just walk up in there like shit sweet. He was a part of the war against that side, and just because you changed or didn't kill, nobody doesn't mean the other side gonna forgive and forget. And bro probably thought since he BD he was gonna get a pass. That could have been organized better by talking or FaceTiming first time and do some politicking before he can just show his face like that again. When you actually pause and reflect, the reality lands hard. Nearly every man who once stood beside EDogg, everyone who moved within his circle, wound up either buried or behind bars. The faces that once crowded the block, the voices that echoed through the music, the names that flashed across headlines, most of them have disappeared. The circle tightened. The jokes, the chaos, the non-stop motion of that era slowly dissolved into silence, prison cells and cemeteries. And somehow, against all odds, EDogg remains. That's why people keep saying he should switch it up, maybe tap into a Take Capone style lane and start streaming, or launch his own podcast like J-Mane. Because honestly, folks from our era and even the younger generation after us would tune in heavy just to hear his side of the story. They would love to listen to him tell it straight from his own perspective, to explain what it was like to live through everything, to survive when almost everybody around him didn't. His story is history. His life is testimony. And in a digital age where people stream for a living, it could give him a whole new lane to move into. But then again, it's not that simple. I thought the same thing about Tay at first. But when I really watched his interviews, I realized something.
Folks, he tell me like, "Fo, they killed Damo, Fo." I'm like, "Fo, where you at, Fo?" He like, "I'm out here right now, Fo." Folks' body still out here. Man, Damo got killed at 5:30 in the morning, Fo. His body was still out there till 10 o'clock. Folks' body was still out there at 10 o'clock. Man, he got killed 3 blocks away from a police station, Fo. He got killed on 67th and Cottage. It's a police station on 71st and Cottage. I know this, Fo, because that's the police station for my hood. That's the 3rd District Police Station, bro. And they used to be on our ass every day, all day, bothering us about everything else. But a motherfucker died 3 blocks away from y'all precinct, and folks' body out there for 5 hours, folks. That shit blew me, folks. And when I pulled up, folks, it wasn't even 10, it wasn't even 9. It was probably like 7:30, 8 o'clock. I pulled up, folks. All the guys there, folks. They was just pulling up. We was all just pulling up, folks. And mind you, folks, that shit, I went and seen folks' body on BD. When I pulled up, the police had that shit blocked off and shit. But they had yellow tape. We was all kind of close to the body, but they had it blocked off, like the tape around, like where you couldn't really walk up. They was letting the immediate family walk up. So when I pull up, I walked right over there to where his mama and Thang and Trigger and Christian and all of them was standing at. On BD, his girl, all of them was standing right there. So the police tried to stop me and shit. And Damo and Trigger them dead and tell him like, "No, that's my son, woo woo." They get on the police ass and shit on BD. So I'm standing right there, I see folks on LA grade, like, see them folks. They was just finna start moving before they put him on the stretcher, folks, put the black bag over him for him, put him in the car and rolled off, folks. Then the fire department came and cleaned all the blood off, folks. That shit just hit me, folks. I ain't even gonna lie, folks, this life should be real, man.
Realistically, people from our generation, and even the ones coming up after us, would tune in heavy just to hear his side of the story. They'd want it raw, straight from him, what it was really like to live through all of that, to make it out when almost everyone else didn't. His story is more than memories. It's history. His life is a testimony. And in an era where people build careers through digital platforms, that move could open an entirely new path for him. What's known as this: EDogg was with Get Back Gang when Wooski was shot by 800 Fat of 800, set in Dusky's funeral, and Wooski had been on borrowed time long before that day. The streets had already stamped his name. So when EDogg calls him my little brother, there's more behind it than just words. Layers of history, loyalty, shared pasts, and street politics all colliding in public view. One thing nobody can argue, though: EDogg always moved with awareness. Never careless, never slipping. He's one of the few from his era who figured out how to navigate the chaos and stay alive, while so many others couldn't. That opens up the bigger question. If enemies can show moments of mutual respect, why does real peace feel impossible? Why can't the beef ever truly die? The answer is complicated. These conflicts didn't start yesterday. They're rooted in years of bloodshed, broken families, and long-standing revenge. No single person can erase decades of hurt and loss. At 34, EDogg is considered old by O-Block standards, a place where many never even reached adulthood. Making it this far is nothing short of extraordinary. Most of the friends he grew up with, joked with, and went to war beside never saw their 20s. To the younger generation, he's a walking time capsule. They call him Mr. Ancient for a reason. Known globally as EDogg, he isn't just a survivor. He's the voice of Get Back Gang. His presence carries decades of pain, endurance, and loss. When you see him, you're looking at one of the last remnants of an era nearly erased by violence and retaliation. Everyone he built memories with, everyone he came up alongside, gone. Big dog EDogg. He's been exposed to more loss than most people could ever wrap their minds around. He's shouldered more coffins than some men who've seen the battlefield. He's watched brothers fall right in front of him, in the middle of gunfire and confusion. The weight he carries is beyond description. Trauma isn't a possibility, it's a given. His nights are likely filled with distant gunshots, wailing sirens, and the echoes of funeral hymns. The reality is harsh and undeniable. EDogg has stood at more gravesides than many combat veterans. That fact alone speaks louder than words. Every funeral added another layer of pain, another scar etched into his soul. So when you see EDogg today, you're looking at someone who was never expected to still be breathing. Someone who survived against the odds while carrying the burden of an entire generation that didn't. His survival goes beyond the personal. It symbolizes all that the block has lost and all that he's been left to bear on his own. EDogg, prayers up for your mental and emotional strength. No man should be forced to endure what you've endured. You've buried too many, witnessed too much, and yet you remain standing. May God bless you with peace in a world that has taken far more than it ever gave. Survivor's guilt runs deep in his story. He's still here, but he lives with the weight of knowing so many others never made it. That kind of pain often goes unseen, but it presses heavy on the heart. Respect to all of O-Block. Salute to every survivor still standing. When you take a look around, there aren't many left. There's EDogg, Boss Top, Big Mike, Wooski's brother, DQ from the O, Muwop, C-Thang, and a handful of others locked up. That's it. That's all that remains from what used to be a full generation of young men. Think about that for a moment. Picture seeing friend after friend laid in a casket. Picture carrying the heavy knowledge that you could be next. The thought never leaves you. When is my turn coming? That question must linger in his mind every single night. If it were me, I'd walk away from gang life just to breathe, just to savor whatever time I had left. Because when the head of the snake is cut off, when people you thought were untouchable disappear, it changes you permanently. The streets don't forgive. The streets don't forget. It's only a matter of time before death comes knocking at your door. That's why I pray EDogg gets out of Chicago. He survived too many shootings, too many funerals, too much loss. Whether it's the gun or the system, he's watched everyone around him get taken out. He's smart, careful, strategic, but Chicago doesn't play fair. It's just a question of when, not if. Sometimes you wonder why he didn't head to Atlanta with Vaughn and the others back then. Maybe things would have turned out differently. Maybe he'd have finally found some peace. Now, only a few names remain from O.D. Perry's era to today. EDogg, Glesh, Muwab, Boss Top, the last of the Get Back gang. Each carries not only their own survival, but the memory and legacy of those who didn't make it. You can see it in EDogg's movements. He was schooled by the older generation. He learned how to carry himself, how to navigate, how to move like someone who knows the cost of this life. Make no mistake, EDogg handles his business. He doesn't fold. He doesn't back down, whether it's T-Roy, V-Roy, or heck. His loyalty runs deeper than the block itself. That's what defines him, the last of his kind, standing tall while carrying the ghosts of everyone who didn't live to see his age. EDogg has spoken candidly about what it was really like growing up in O-Block. He opened up about the experience of being biracial, half white, half black, in a world where identity, loyalty, and survival were everything. He didn't shy away from the pain either. He revealed he has lost over 100 people close to him to the streets of Chicago. 100. That's not just loss. That's an entire network of friends, family, and peers wiped out. Another thing that always caught my attention is how the lines between generations blur with age. In the streets, age doesn't carry the same weight it does in the normal world. It's not like a 40-year-old sticking with other 40-year-olds or an 18-year-old only rolling with kids their own age. In the hood, once someone loses the people they grew up with, their day ones, their brothers, their circle, they don't just stop. They start linking up with the younger generation, the new kids coming up. That's why you see 40-year-old men hanging with 18-year-olds, moving as one, still posted up on the block. In that world, the cycle doesn't end with age. The block doesn't care about your birth certificate. It only cares where your loyalty lies. And maybe that's what makes it so deadly. The streets don't allow anyone to grow old the normal way. They don't offer a retirement plan. They don't hand you a gold watch when you hit 50. Instead, they keep pulling you back, blending you into younger and younger circles until the line between generations disappears. It all becomes one long, relentless cycle, an endless story of violence, loyalty, betrayal, and survival. Seeing someone like EDogg still here, still alive, still standing, makes you wonder, what's he going to do with this second chance? Will he keep running in the same circles that swallowed everyone else, or will he break out, carve a new path, and finally tell his story in a way that could guide the next generation away from repeating the same mistakes? O-Block has always been one of the most talked about neighborhoods in Chicago, and naturally, EDogg draws attention. He's viewed as a shot caller, a top killer, one of the original Get Back gang. From what I've heard, he was involved in the Poppy hit, and I'm pretty sure he played a role in the Wooski shooting at Dusky's funeral. His respect in O-Block is undeniable. The shorties and the OGs alike all show him love. Chicago is one of the few places where regular guys can gain a following. Artists and street figures like Melly, Sh00ter, King Von, KTS Von, and FBG Duck also built massive fan bases. In that environment, reputation travels fast and respect is currency. EDogg's influence, both on the streets and in the culture, reflects that dynamic. And as I sit and think about all this, I can't lie, I was caught off guard. I really thought Sh00ter had made it out, that he'd moved to Houston with his sister and left that life behind. I truly believed he had escaped the cycle, that he was somewhere safe, building a life away from the violence, the funerals, the constant tension of the block. And honestly, he should have stayed gone. He should stay far away, keep himself safe, and never look back. Because everyone who knows Chicago knows the rules. Staying too long, lingering in the same space that swallowed so many before you, is like playing with fire. You can't always dodge the flames, no matter how careful you are. And then you look back at those old photos, those group shots, and it hits you how deep the circle was back then. The crew was stacked. So many people together in one frame, almost as many as the number of people sitting in a room like this right now. But then the inevitable question surfaces. What happened to all of them? Did they fall victim to the streets? Did some quietly slip away, escape the cycle, and manage to carve out a different life? Did they find jobs, start families, leave the block behind without fanfare? Or did they vanish into the chaos, swallowed quietly by the war that only intensified over the years? It's strange. These faces remain in photos, frozen in time, but their stories have disappeared. And it makes you wonder, how many lives have simply been forgotten? I find myself thinking about that a lot. The untold stories, the details that never make it to the surface. It's haunting. It stirs curiosity, makes you question everything about choices, survival, and fate. And yet, there's a part of you that thinks maybe it doesn't even matter. The streets don't stop. Life in Chicago moves forward regardless, but still it feels wrong to erase them completely. These were real people. They laughed, cried, lived, and breathed in the same spaces and the same photographs that we still look at today. To pretend they never existed would be to ignore the weight of their lives entirely. The crazy part is, people witness all of this with their own eyes. They see the shootings, the funerals, the arrests, the betrayals, the trauma, and yet many still choose to live there, right in the center of it all. Over time, the sorrow dulls, the tears dry, the shock fades. What once made you gasp now just becomes another headline, another rip post, another mural on the wall. Meanwhile, some of the same people spend thousands of dollars on designer clothes, flexing online in outfits that cost more than a used car. And you think, how can someone drop 5 bands on a fit for themselves and even for their kids, but not move their family somewhere safer, away from all this chaos? That's the contradiction of it all. The means to leave exist. The opportunities are there. Small windows to escape and start fresh do appear. But at the end of the day, people choose their own paths. Outsiders may shake their heads, criticize, or question, but the decisions are theirs alone. And that's why it's terrifying when someone like Sh00ter, who had a real shot at freedom, risks being caught slipping in the same city that took so many before him. Choosing to stay in Chicago, staying close to where the violence and history are concentrated, it's a gamble with life itself. Then there's EDogg, and his story runs even deeper. Allegedly, he's been part of some of the deadliest moves on the block, running alongside names that carry serious weight. Mikado, Gleesh, and Munaduk. His name began circulating heavily as connections were drawn to retaliation moves, and just being affiliated puts you in the crosshairs. There's a detail often overlooked. Lil Ho, connected to one of these situations, was the uncle of Breezy from Sh00ter. That made it personal. But the streets don't bend for personal ties. Breezy publicly paid respects to his uncle, but even then, the code didn't change. Lil Ho was still considered an op. Blood doesn't cancel out block allegiance. Relationships don't erase street loyalty. That harsh reality is a cornerstone of survival in Chicago's underworld. That same moment also solidified Munaduk's reputation. He wasn't just another name floating around. He became recognized as a key figure in O-Block's retaliation machine. Actions weren't random. They were coordinated, deliberate, and Duke was at the center of it all, steering one of the most intense periods of the BDGD conflict. He became a name you couldn't ignore, a name tied to getbacks and vengeance. By the summer of 2017, things escalated. EDogg, Munaduk, and HK emerged as some of O-Block's most active and influential figures. Together, they led what became known as the Get Back Gang wave. Retaliation wasn't just a concept anymore. It was an operation. It was a movement. On June 2nd, 2017, EDogg tweeted, "Summer 2K17, lotta Get Back Gang, shit bout to be going on," tagging it with "it's gonna be a cold ass summer." At the time, it seemed like just another cryptic tweet, reckless maybe, but it quickly became prophetic. 2 weeks later, on June 16th, Taekwon World suffered a devastating loss. One of their closest members, Poppy, who had ties to the late TB, was gunned down. Here's the twist. Poppy had recently landed a legitimate job at L&P Wholesale Candy Company on South State Street. On paper, it seemed like a step toward a normal life, a way out. But the location was dangerous. It was in the heart of DOD territory, allied with the BDs and linked to Front Street. Poppy was walking into hostile ground, whether he knew it or not. Some say he underestimated how far O'Block and 600 would go for vengeance. Others think he was trying to build a better life, but fate didn't allow it. Working there became a deadly miscalculation and a grim reminder that the past and affiliations don't simply vanish. That summer proved the cost of the cycle, the depth of the street's memory. Even attempts at normalcy, jobs, family, small steps forward cannot erase what came before. O'Block it clear in 2017, retaliation doesn't stop, and the legacy of the block carries forward relentlessly.
Fold there, Papa Doc. Papa Doc, you shot all that dope up, kid. Just do it. You know?
TW shit, shorty. Out here.
That be Steve.
Yeah, out here.
LA. SCLET. Sh00ter, Sh00ter movie.
That be Lil Steve. Out here on the block.
Squad. That one.
In it, folk. Put me in it, folk.
You see him?
Put me in it, folk.
Y'all don't care, man.
What you want, a box for real? What you want, a box for real? George!
Here's where the story twists. Despite his deep affiliations in the street world, Poppy had recently gotten a job. He was working at L&P Wholesale Candy Company, located on South State Street. On paper, that looked like a good move, a chance to step towards something normal, a paycheck, a clean way out. But the problem was location. That job sat right in the middle of DOD territory, a set that was allied with the BDs and connected to Front Street. That was far from neutral ground. So why did Poppy choose to work there? That's still a mystery. Some say he underestimated just how far O'Block and 600 were willing to go to avenge T. Roy. Others think he was trying to make a move toward a better life, but fate didn't give him the chance. Whatever the reason, showing up in that area was a deadly miscalculation. It proved that the Get Back wave wasn't just talk. They were serious, relentless, and ready to strike anywhere, even at someone who seemed to be stepping away from the lifestyle. That summer showed everybody the cost of war and how deep the cycle really runs. Even when someone tries to do something different, tries to work a regular job, the past and the affiliations don't just disappear. The streets remember, the people remember. And O'Block in 2017 made sure everyone knew the retaliation wasn't going to stop. Survival as a rarity. In O'Block and Chicago's drill culture, reaching the age of 34, as EDogg has, is considered ancient for a street figure. Many peers die before 25 to 28 due to gun violence, retaliation, or incarceration. EDogg's life, then, is more than just a story about Chicago's streets. It's a reflection of survival, trauma, loyalty, and the unforgiving consequences of living in an environment forged by violence and loss. His story is one of resilience, yes, but also a warning. There are lessons in his journey, lessons about human struggle, community, and the cost of choices that go far beyond O'Block. It's a narrative about life, fate, and the weight that comes with surviving when so many around you did not. There are so many lessons we can learn from this story. First lesson, survival against all odds. EDogg's life is a testament to survival in its rawest form. Growing up in O'Block, he witnessed a world where danger lurked at every corner, where a wrong move could cost your life in an instant. Most of the people he grew up with, his friends, brothers, and peers, never made it past their 20s. Funerals, shootings, and prison sentences were an everyday reality, yet EDogg survived. This teaches us that survival isn't just about luck. It's about discipline, awareness, strategy, and knowing when to act and when to stay back. It's about reading the environment, understanding human behavior, and making choices under constant pressure. Survival is a mindset, and EDogg embodies that mindset in its purest form. Second lesson, the importance of loyalty and legacy. EDogg isn't just surviving for himself. He carries the legacy of O'Block. He's a bridge between generations, from the older O.D. Perry era to the younger shooters like Munna Ike and the Jump Out Boys. Everyone, from OGs to shorties, respects him because he honors the code, the unspoken rules of loyalty, and the history of the block. Loyalty here isn't a word, it's a lifestyle. It's what keeps communities intact, what maintains respect, and what ensures that knowledge and skills are passed down. The lesson is simple but profound. Loyalty builds legacy, and legacy shapes history. Third lesson: the weight of trauma and survivor's guilt. Few can truly comprehend what it means to live while nearly everyone around you dies. EDogg has buried friends, seen brothers fall in front of him, and survived shootings that could have ended his life. That survival comes with a heavy cost: survivor's guilt. The question, why me and not them, never leaves your mind. He carries invisible scars, emotional and psychological, that affect every decision, every interaction, every move he makes. The lesson here is that survival isn't just about staying alive physically. It's about navigating the emotional aftermath and finding ways to carry on despite the pain. Fourth lesson: respect isn't always about public perception. The world outside O'Block may not understand EDogg. Rumors about past events, false assumptions, and public narratives often paint a distorted picture. But within his community, respect is earned, not given. It comes from action, from loyalty, from demonstrating awareness and mastery of your environment. People may gossip, misunderstand, or spread false stories, but EDogg's reputation remains intact because it's built on reality, not hype. The lesson here is crucial. True respect comes from consistency, integrity, and knowledge, not from what outsiders think. Fifth lesson: opportunities for transformation exist even in the harshest environments. The possibility for change exists. EDogg has already begun stepping into new spaces, spending time with creators like iSpeed, exploring gaming and storytelling. With his life experience, he could educate, entertain, and inspire a wide audience. He could start a podcast, create content about his journey, or mentor younger people in O'Block, turning hard-earned lessons into guidance for others. The lesson here is that no matter how entrenched someone is in a difficult environment, there is always potential to pivot towards something positive, to transform pain into influence, and to use experience as a tool for growth. Sixth lesson: peace is complicated and requires patience. The story of EDogg and J-Mane highlights the complexity of reconciliation. Past actions, disrespectful words, and deep-seated feuds cannot be erased overnight. Peace doesn't happen because someone wants it. It requires careful negotiation, acknowledgement of wrongdoing, and genuine effort. This is a lesson not just for street conflicts, but for life in general. Meaningful reconciliation requires time, strategy, humility, and honesty. You cannot simply walk into a situation and expect everyone to forget years of pain and betrayal. True peace is deliberate, not performative. Seventh lesson: cycles of violence shape identity. O'Block is a world where loyalty, revenge, and survival are interwoven, where age does not protect you, and where cycles of violence persist across generations. EDogg's life shows that identity is deeply tied to environment. How you respond to that environment, whether through survival, action, or transformation, defines who you become. The lesson here is that understanding these cycles is crucial, whether to navigate them, to survive, or to break them. Violence, loyalty, and history are all part of a system, and knowing how to move within it is essential. My final thought: EDogg's story is more than just the story of one man. It's a testament to resilience, endurance, loyalty, and survival. He represents a generation nearly erased by violence and tragedy, carrying the memory of those who didn't make it. Yet his story is also one of hope. By choosing to share his experiences, guide the younger generation, and explore new opportunities, EDogg has the chance to transform a life shaped by pain into a legacy of wisdom and influence. His journey reminds us that even in the darkest environments, there is room for growth, transformation, and meaningful impact. Survival is one thing, but leaving a lasting positive mark is another, and EDogg has the potential to do both.
Mm-hmm.